So when your financial life is out of order, you can feel like you're headed for a tailspin. Well, for all you good people going through bad times, bankruptcy might be a viable option to getting your financial life back on the correct path.
However, people are often frightened that they will never be able to buy a car or a house again if they go through the bankruptcy process. So some worry that creditors will continue to call them nonstop. So joining us today is our Lady of the Law, Kast, to explain how bankruptcy, you say, can help improve their credit. How does that work?
Well, bankruptcy laws were put into place to help people get a fresh start. When you are, this high in deep in bills, they're piling up, the debt's just mounting, there's no ability to really see the light at the end of the tunnel, then bankruptcy is an avenue to help you get those debts taken care of, whether, you do a Chapter 7, which is a debt forgiveness program, or a Chapter 13, which allows you to pay your creditors back. At the end of those, you come out with a bankruptcy discharge. Those debts are gone, and you have a fresh start, and you can start to rebuild your credit again. In fact, at the end of a bankruptcy, when you get that discharge, most people see their credit score increase 75 to 100 points. And then if you make your payments timely after that for whatever you have, then your credit score can increase exponentially.
So I think that people may fear that bankruptcy is the black mark, right, as for your credit score.
Right.
So how long does it stay on your credit report, and what does that mean for you?
Well, bankruptcy used to have a negative stigma, and that's no longer the case. We don't have debtor's prison anymore, and that's done away with a long time ago. Even the Bible speaks of canceling debt every 7 years. So the standard, the bankruptcy laws kind of speak to that as well. 7 to 10 years is the general rule of thumb where the bankruptcy stays on your credit. But if you have a judgment or a foreclosure, that stays on your credit until those things are paid or satisfied or disposed of in some ways. Judgments are good for 20 years. Your credit is ruined by that judgment for 20 years. A bankruptcy can discharge that judgment, completely take it off your credit. Wouldn't you rather have the bankruptcy for 7 years than a judgment for 20? I mean, it helps clean up your credit a lot quicker.
And talk about some of the people that come into your office, and these are people that are maxing out on their credit cards and then trying to skate on their obligations, and I don't want to, fulfill what I've said I would do when I say I'm going to pay my bills. These are people who have made expenses but now are finding in this tough economy that they can't find a job to be able to maintain what they have.
It's the people who have, lost a job or taken a lesser paying job to try to make ends meet. It's the people who have gotten behind in their house payments and their homes are now in foreclosure. Bankruptcy is a great and powerful tool to stop the foreclosure process, to allow you time to get a modification through the bankruptcy court. I mean, bankruptcy is a very, very strong program, the mortgage modification mediation program, where it allows the federal courts to come in and oversee the process to help people get modifications quicker than outside of bankruptcy. So it stays the state court action. So it says foreclosure court, you stop doing what you're doing, and it lets people have a shot at the modification process. So it helps those people. So it also, the people with the sick children who, when it comes to, paying to get your child's medicine or, paying the credit card bills, you choose the medicine. Rightfully so. It's the people who get in, trouble that way financially, who don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. Bankruptcy is put in place, and the laws are put in place to help those people. It's not for the people who go out and say, hey, let me go and, charge a trip to Europe and then go file bankruptcy. It's for the people who really need the help.
So say someone files for bankruptcy, what happens to all those annoying phone calls from your creditors trying to collect debts?
Right, that's the beauty of bankruptcy. The minute you file bankruptcy, you're under the protection of the federal court. You're in what's called an automatic stay, which means all of your creditors must stop calling you, must stop sending you anything other than a statement of what you owe. They must stop harassing you. They can't call your neighbors. They can't call, your parents. They can't.
Which you say they do. Creditors do call neighbors.
They do.
They have them go knock on a door.
Right. They will do that. They'll call parents. They'll call, anybody that they can with the same last name, even, to see if that's you. Once you file bankruptcy, all that must stop. If they continue to do that, it's called a stay violation. Even post-discharge, if they do it, it's a discharge violation. We can sue them and get money for the debtor at that point. So it's
for harassment.
For harassment, right?
Wow. So what if I get, say, a pay raise or a new job, and it puts me in a little bit better position to pay off my debt sooner? What do you recommend for that?
Well, there's no situation that is just like any other situation. What we would recommend is that you talk to your bankruptcy attorney about what it is you received, whether it be the pay raise or you came into some money. If you inherited some money, sometimes that will affect the bankruptcy process. So we would recommend you talk to your attorney. You can always pay a bankruptcy, a Chapter 13 off sooner if you have the ability to do so. You can make payments quicker to get out of the bankruptcy quicker. There's just you need the help of a good attorney throughout the process. So we would recommend that you hire a professional seek professional as soon as you start seeing the bills start snowballing out of hand. As soon as you see that your debts are becoming more than your income,
right,
that you seek professional help, because the sooner you get in to see a professional, the more options you have and the more options that you can deal with and help you get the whole process behind you.
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
thank
here, Our
you.
Lady of the Law, Andrea Kast,
Sure.
and for the advice. And thanks to Emery, Kast, and Walker, of course, for sponsoring this segment.
Yeah, so remember, the biggest mistake you can make when facing financial hardship is to do nothing at all. And the legal team of Emery, Kast, and Walker understands what you're going through, and they're there to help good people in bad times. Visit their website at www.jackslawyer.com or call them at 904-404-3394 for a free consultation to find solutions to your problems. They've got offices in Jacksonville and St. Augustine.